we asked them to think about February 2024 and then come up with what's actually the customer focus. How do you want to collaborate with each other? How do you look at new business? Like, what's the products and these kind of things? Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being a part of this and making time for us. You've seen actually the title already, I guess. That's why you're here. So what we're going to talk about a little deeper today is how basically Nina, way more than I, was conducting a change in the organization she was managing director for, in basically scaling up. Is basically we started to work with agile principles and solution focus in order to scale up the organization. We really wanted to acknowledge that, of course, we haven't been alone in this process. Yeah, I guess all of us know that change is not always easy. And of course, I guess we stepped on toes too. So we're not going to give you like the nice, great picture of how easy everything is. But at the same time, we just want to make sure that it's clear that there's been many people involved. There were like few people highly invested in this whole thing. And at the same time, there was a whole organization involved. And this is our perspective. And in order to understand who is this our perspective, like who are we, I'm handing over to Nina at the first spot.
Thank you, Heike. Yeah, hi, nice to meet you. It's great that you are here. It's really cool this European get together and meet up. Yeah, I'm Nina. I worked for over 7 years in leadership roles in the creative industries, and I my focus is always to develop the team strengths and fostering really a collaborative work environment. And what we wanted to show you now in this case, I had the role, like Heike said it, I was the managing director, and I want to tell you a bit more about our team process and how we invented an agile strategy process in this creative agency where I worked.
Yeah, as Ivira said in the beginning, I am now certified organizational design and development professional. Um, and I had the privilege to learn from Elvira, which I really liked. And I love working with organizational design and development. That's what I do. And particularly in this process here, I did that in, let's say, two different roles. On the one hand, Nina and I started working together more in a sparrings partner perspective or coaching perspective, which we call in the upcoming slides now the bird's eye view, like looking on the organization. And on the other hand, I did work in workshop moderations when needed. So that's been that part. And of course, at the same time, with Nina together, we always just looked at what was helpful for the process or what are our steps, how could our roadmap look like. And we did come up with a roadmap, and along that roadmap, we are going to explain a little what we did and how we did it. And of course, as we already said, you can always ask in between and let us know whatever you want to know in more depth. Or the project, the organization that we actually worked with, or that Nina part of and I worked with, is a co-creative agency based in Frankfurt. It was founded in 2004 and has around 40 employees. And what was really great for us actually was that the agency started working with agile iterations and processes in 2020. So they started using holocratic roles, circles, the adaptations within the governance meetings and sync or tactical, whatever you would call it for, but the operation, like the operational meetings that are going on the other side. And they did that with they started introducing that way of working with the dive and the loop approach, and that was really helpful for our work because that led the organization into or we had the basis for them being built, that adaptation and iteration and testing phases that was kind of already kind of in their genes, and that's been really great to work on. And then what was the starting point actually? Yeah, I started meeting the owners. It found itself a little bit of in the turbulence of maintaining their identity. And at the same time, they were like aspiring a little bit for more significant market share, or let's say value creation, or maybe even new products. Like there was like this wish of how could we add more value? How could we focus more on our customers and clients? At the same time, Nina and I already worked together, as I said, from 2022. Um, and the journey that we were departing, let's say, started in 2023. When we started working on the organization strategy and thought about coming up with goals and or objectives, key results. And we thought that this could be a thing that the organization was at that point in need for, let's say, in order to basically combine this need of we want to stay and stick to our values, and we want to like acknowledge where we are coming from, and at the same time, taking the next step. So the initial change for the whole journey when we started it started with 4 drivers. I would always consider the people that we worked with there as people who liked each other so much. And it's been such a great atmosphere to be actually in the rooms, like in the rooms of the agency. They loved being there. And at the same time, we felt there was a little bit of lack of focus of the actual business objectives. And at the same time, um, we felt there was a little bit of confusion around vision, objectives, purpose was coming in. So, what is it actually that we do focus on? And also, what I think is important to mention is that at that time, there was like 2 parallel worlds, let's say. There was people working in circles and roles already with like the new approach, and at the same time, there were still teams consisting that just worked in, let's say, the way they used to work. And so a little bit silo thinking maybe started being stronger because the ways of working started to differentiate or to differ a little bit. And on that basis, few conflicts or discussions, let's say, started arising on how are we going to approach this? Like, what's our next big thing to do, and how are we going to do this? What's been our vision for change? So, what did we think we want to work on? That was, first of all, as I said, focus on value creation and customers. Like, come up with what's the actual value creation, what's the added value. Can we come up with new products, and what do our clients need? At the same time, then bring them down to earth into actionable objectives. Develop objectives and make them transparent for everyone. So the organization, the teams, the circles, whoever, let's say, can organize around the actual work that everyone agreed on. That's been our vision. We needed resources for that. And as I already mentioned, the team was really great, super motivated. It felt to me that the team was really waiting for that to happen, that they would finally, let's say, get orientation and can stay together. And of course, like we thought about, or we all also implemented like a big team workshop for 2 days, and they were quite happy to be together for the 2 days. And at the same time, with Nina as a managing director, I had, of course, the best resource, the most important resource, who can make all the decision and was super open to change and introduce changes actually into the organization. Also, what I felt, or the way that I put it, Nina, please interrupt me, is I think the way the agency became a co-creative agency was because there were so many happy clients and customers already involved. They're super yeah, they are kind of super happy to actually already work together with the agency on their ideas. And so the openness in terms of ideation and changes was not only on like the service level, let's say, if you would want to call it a service agency, but also on the clients, which was great. And then, even though there was confusion about purpose, vision, and these kind of things, it was great to have it because we could build on it. We could even that adapt and not did not have to come up with something totally new or develop that. Same thing with structure. As I said, holacracy or the structures and the adapting of structures was going on for around 2 or 3 years at that point. And so it was quite easy to just use that structure in order to develop out of that, and there was not the need to change structurally. And from a communicating point of view, I loved that there were already regular town halls in place. So that meant everything that comes with information and just sharing news, there was a place for that as well. So that's what I really liked. And so we came up with our first steps that we needed in order to get the change started. And that was, we thought we wanted to have an aligned big vision for change that everyone is part of. At the same time, break this vision down into actual organizational objectives and key results, and then come up with retrospectives to measure and adopt on the way. After that, there started strategy work, but that was not part of that at that point of time when we came up with that. But we felt that's been our energy for change and we could do something. And we want to share you this by going along our roadmap, which is quite short for the beginning. The vision for change and objectives for the team. That's been in February 2023. We decided in that workshop that I'm going to go more in depth in a minute, that we are going to have a 3 months time box of what we thought, okay, then the organization wants to look back at it. And from then on, actually, we decided to go into touch points. So from that moment on, not I was doing the retrospectives, but we were coming up together with a little team together around Nina on what could be a good concept for the organization. And what you see up here, the two processes going parallel with each other, that Nina and I worked together in this bird's eye view. And at the same time, we had the team process that we tried to steer together and with a little team. We did the vision for change by using Lego Serious Play, which right here and now I want to shout out to Katrin Daris, who did that with me together. We had the whole organization and had like a full day of Lego Serious Play. And it was not only Katrin, even though she's been like the Lego Serious Play pro that I really like to work with. And yeah, just want to mention her. But at the same time, Tobias Jungwirth, like that's the three of us. Toby was actually presenting the whole vision. So we had that for the start as a basis in the room, could get everyone connected to it or reminded to it, whatever was needed. But he really introduced it really well. The way we did it was, of course, as we are here for solution focused fans, let's say, we started with the preferred future. So we asked every little team to build stuff that would start from looking from 1 year back. Let's say this workshop was in February 2023, and we asked them to think about February 2024, and then come up with what's actually the customer focus. How do you want to collaborate with each other? How do you look at new business? Like what's the products and these kind of things. Same with agency awareness and with employer branding. So that's been the easy things to build for them at that day and to come up with models so they can have an aligned idea. After that, we basically took the second day to break it down into like down to earth, actionable goals, let's say, which was, of course, let's say a little more difficult than building. At the same time, I felt discussion were enabled and the right conversations were taking place as they had, yeah, good pictures in mind. That's why I like Lego series play very much. To have that. It's a very standardized process for that. We wanted to have at least one retrospective in this with the whole group, and we said that this would take place 3 months later. We came up with 2 hour online meeting, used a MyRobot. It's yeah, I screenshotted you the way we did it without having the actual answers in it, but I think it does give you a little bit of the idea of how it works. What we used for that was really quite easy retrospective by just looking about what's been your hope for the retro, and then just looking back what went well, what are basically things you want to keep, and at the same time, what's your best hope for the constellation actually of the medium term future. And by constellation, we wanted, or we kind of sensed at that moment already that doing everything around goals together with the whole organization might not be the one thing. And that's why we, at that point, already started looking at what could be a good constellation here and how would you like to work together on goals or objectives. Use the steps not only to measure the achievement of the objectives, but to improve the process. That's what I mean when I say constellation. Like, look, do not only look on are we doing the right thing to measure the objectives, but also are we the right people in the room? Is this the right time box? Do we have to meet in different constellations in different time boxes and look at specific other things? How do we communicate? What's the information flow? All those kind of things to look at that too. And then, of course, adjust what has to be adjusted and also what can be adjusted, because there's not always everything that can be adjusted. And what I felt was really helpful for the organization at that time was to focus on proposals that can be implemented instead of focus on problems that might not be at that point, yeah, things that you can solve, but really focus on whoever has a proposal for something. Yeah, let's just do it. Let's try it and then have a time box that is reasonable enough for us to just give it a try and then come back. And now I believe it's Nina's turn.
Yes, and yeah, actually the team process already started with Heike, but afterwards we decided that we want to self-organize ourselves more. And Heike, you can go further on the next chart. And you can see here on the roadmap that we um, carried out 2 retros independently. So we facilitated them by our own. We had like 3 facilitator in the organization. And what we also did in 2023, in the end, in the last 3 months, I think, that we worked on sub-targets in the circles. So yeah, and for us it was like really important to work on our own in this team process. And I want to show you on the next chart what we learned in this first year where we worked continuously on goals. What we recognized, what that went well was, like Heike said before, keeping at it regularly. For us, it sounds really simple, but for us, it was really important to have all the meetings in the calendar and that we don't have to discuss every time, when do we want to meet to talk about our goals, or when do we want to look back, and when do we want to have the retro. So for us it was really nice to put the meetings in the calendar before. um, and what was also really important and what we learned is that we have to focus and leave out what doesn't work. It was we started with 5 goals in the beginning of the year, and this was actually a lot. But there were so many things where we are interested, so we decided, okay, let's start with 5 goals. But in the meantime, we really recognized it's too much. We also weren't sure, are all these goals really helpful to reach our vision. And there were also goals where where there was nobody who wanted to work on these goals, or nobody had time to work on those. So we, at the end of the year, we decided we will only work on 3 goals, and actually we also decided to prioritize 2 goals which we thought are really important. So for us, it was really good to decide, okay, we can stop working on things that doesn't work. What was also really nice that the teams in the retro started to show what has been achieved. They had only 2 minutes to show what they did in the process, and they didn't justify. So it wasn't show time. It was really just, yeah, we did that and we learned that, and it was really short, and it was good to get a practice to work like this. And what was really important for us in the year, that we worked with key performance indicators, or we started to work with that, and we realized that this gave us orientation where we stand at the moment. I would say, like Heike said, it's always important to focus on that, what worked well, but it was also important for us to realize where we had like challenges, I would say. What could have gone better? It was, for us, it was difficult to involve, yeah, all the people in the agency. We started with a workshop with everybody, and all the retros were also with all employees, and they were held remote. So it was actually easy to have all the people together. But however, it was difficult to have like an involvement in the work on goals during the whole time, but also in the meetings. And for me, it was also difficult that I had the feeling that the further work on objectives is really strongly linked to my role as managing director. I always felt in the situation to ask, when do we want to do our next meeting? When do we want to talk about our goals and about our strategy? And I really had the feeling to push all the time. And in my leadership role, I don't want to push all the time. Um, so this was something that really, for me, was important to change. And we had the challenge I already told when I showed the roadmap, that we like implemented the sub goals of the teams, because for us this was better because we already worked in circles, but we had also like the difficulty to yeah, are the sub goals of the circles really help they to reach our agency goals. So this was always a question we ask ourselves. Work that do the 2 goals really work good together? What we realized after this year, that we need to formulate our business model even more clearly to provide orientation, because we thought that it's really important to have orientation also to formulate better goals. And we need constant space for strategic work besides our already existing meetings. When I talk about already existing meetings, I talk about the retros, but also about sync and governance meeting, which we already had. And we have to reorganize our roles and teams to create more value and share responsibilities. And what was also important for us, it was good that we started all together with the goals and the strategy process, but not everybody is really interested in strategy work, and that's okay. And we should like implement this in our new strategy process. And this is why we reinvented our agile strategy process. And I want to show you how we did it in the next charts. Like Heike already talked about the guiding principles, which we thought are really important. And we had the challenge that the focus of the existing objectives, which we formulated all together, was actually a bit unclear. Why and for what purpose do we have these objectives? Are they really, meaningful? Do they help us to get to our vision? And for us, this was a sign that we have to look at our guiding principles and to check if they can maybe a clearer view on the guiding principles maybe could us help to formulate better goals. So what we did is that we reviewed our existing vision and the purpose to identify areas of and to turn them really into concrete guiding principles that are actionable. When Elvira and Heike and I talked about the title for this meetup, we also had the idea in mind, bringing vision down to earth. So for us, it was really important that we not have only this vision somewhere high in the sky. It was really important that we have guiding principles for everybody so that everybody can make informed decisions in the organization. And what we also did is that we sharpened our positioning using the sustainable business model canvas, because we thought it's really important for everybody in the organization to know what is really our USP, what is the value which we create, and what we do actually every day. And for us, it was really helpful to work on such canvas and with a focus on some sentences to make clear what we are doing all the time. Two things which were really important also for us were, I call it here, orientation and transparency. We had the challenge that we had like a lack of common understanding of economic indicators, and also we had problems to prioritize the different goals. It was really helpful to start with the key performance indicators, but we had still problems to understand where we stand at the moment. And we had something, I called it here, contradictory goals, that we had different goals. For example, I will give you some examples. We had, like, for example, the goal to raise our salary development, but also our economic profit. Or we had the objective to work on our also on the society, to have a positive impact on the society and to do some pro bono projects. But of course, we also wanted a lot of billable hours. So there were like some contradictions, and for the employees, it was like complicated to decide what they should do. I can give you an example actually, because at the beginning of the year we realized when we analyzed our agency scorecard that we already completed a lot of pro bono projects. So really a great achievement. And this was really good for our positive social contribution. But this also showed the team that they should stop at the moment to work on pro bono projects, and they should focus on the work for the customers to have more billable hours. And I the example really shows super nice how the team can decide really on their own then to what should we do now. I call this a shared responsibility. I think there are a lot of companies try to like have shared responsibility. I hope so. And what we realized was that not everyone is interested in doing strategy work. And sometimes I felt like super alone in my managing director position because I thought nobody wants to work on the ambitious goals. But actually, that was not the point. What we did to change this and to make a progress and to really share the responsibility was that we developed the strategic topics such as purpose, business model and vision in the management team, not with everybody. And this was actually much easier for us because it was not such a big group, and it was easier to work on the strategic field. And what we also changed is that the lead roles were responsible for formulating meaningful goals for the circles, and we created some additional roles. Sounds simple, but for us it was really helpful to have a goal process organizer and also the facilitator, and they really helped us to yeah, simply to say we have a meeting on this point. These are the tasks that you should do before for us to work on goals and this shared responsibilities and shared roles. Yeah, what we also recognized and learned is that it's not only that we have to like work on our purpose and our vision and our business model in 3 workshops. We recognize that it's really important to have enough space for our strategic work and to do it regularly. And what we decided is that we should have, in addition to the existing governance and sync meeting, that we need some more space and more meetings regularly. So we implemented a quarterly strategy meeting where we like the purpose was just to look at the vision, look at the purpose, and to decide, do we have to do some adjustments? And we invented a monthly KPI meeting where the teams presented their key performance indicator, and they could receive feedback and advice from the group, and all we could see where we stand at the moment for the whole organization, but also for the teams. And this was really helpful for us. Yeah, you can go further. Yeah, I will like to focus also on the point of teams and value creation, because in the for us it was a challenge. Like Heike mentioned it before, that we had like this old teams which worked together since a long time, and they really like to be together. And it was really interesting that in the goal process they realized, oh wow, we are not able to formulate meaningful goals in our team because they hadn't projects together, or because they hadn't some roles in the team which they needed to work really on a goal together. And so I think for the team leads and also for the teams, sometimes this felt like really frustrating, but it was also really interesting because I think that pushed this frustration also pushed the team leads to change something. In my managing director role, actually, I try to encourage this reflection on why at the moment you cannot formulate goals, or why is it not possible to work on ambitious goals, and what should you like change to do it. And in the meantime, this pushed us to restructure our organization, and we reorganized the team structure and created an interdisciplinary customer circle for more focus on value creation and the customers. And afterwards, they could work independently and autonomous on their projects. And I think it was like really a push to more value creation and more customer focus. And what we did also, because it was like really a big team of 25 people, that we divided the lead roles according to subject matter. We had a lead, creative lead, and economic and project management lead. And this gave us, yeah, actually more responsiveness, and also they shared responsibility and was much easier for them to do the job. Yeah, this is my last point. When I look at the team process, I think it's really important to look at the point, how often do we have to communicate when we have change or transformation in the organization, and how can we make possible that different people can participate in the process? Like I said, wasn't easy to have the involvement in the whole organization, and we like we did the strategy work in a smaller circle, but to communicate the changes to the whole agency, and also to give the possibility to participate. So we used the already existing meetings with everyone to communicate the results and also the new process. And it was also possible to participate in the meetings, for example, in the KPI meeting. Yeah, and here you can see our roadmap with a new agile strategy process. You can see in the middle of the year, we had these 3 workshops, and we started with a monthly KPI meeting. And in Q4, we had then the quarterly strategy meeting to adjust the strategy. And now, Heike and I want to talk on the yellow thing, the bird's eye view. And I want to share my perspective in my managing director role. And yeah, I in my managing director role, I had a lot of challenges, and I think it's normal in such a leadership role. And I want to talk a little bit about how these bird's eye meetings or the coaching helped me. For me, it was like really important to getting away from operational pressure, to gain a clear view of the organization, and also to initiate changes, because when you are always in the operational pressure, you cannot like have a clear view. And this meeting really helped me to guide the organization's development, and to get into a bird's eye perspective. And it was also important for me to focus on ambitious goals and value creation in the organization, and to prioritize things. And for us, it was like really important to organize the process ourselves, but it was also important to have a sparring and to talk with someone who is not in the process, and to have feedback. Yeah, maybe we could do it like this, and it was really nice to show it to someone who wasn't in the organization. These bird's eye view meetings helped me to always reflect on this, what we need at the moment. And for me as a person, it was also important really to focus on that, what I can change. I think this is also the solution focus, really to focus on your circle of influence, and what can I change at the moment, was really helpfully for me. Thank you, Heike. And what is your perspective?
Thanks. I take it from here, and yeah, want to share what I thought was helpful during the process. First of all, like really having the objectives in mind. Like I think that's been most helpful too. Whenever we kind of zoomed out on, okay, where we at, that still the things we want to talk about? Is that still the things we aligned? Is that still the things that are important? Or did anything of that change? the same time, again, I started with the end of the year in mind. So the first task that Nina kind of had to carry out, like that's been a little homework. And we looked at that during the year every like quite a few times, I think, was to come up with her Christmas speech, actually in the beginning, because I knew there was, of course, legendary Christmas parties, and to have a clear idea on what would I like to share at that speech, I thought was could be really motivating. And as I said, we used it quite frequently, I think, to look back at it and look at, yeah, what is it actually that you want to say? Is that still working? And then another thing that I find very helpful is to really focus on objectives and key results instead of activities. Like maybe uh, emphasizing more and more on, let's not agree on what we want to do, but actually what we want to achieve, and then how we can measure it. Like, why do we actually want to do this? What's your best hope? Like, that would be then the translation to solution focus. And at the same time, how would you actually notice that you are making progress, which could be the translation to key results most of the time, I would say. Or that's how it kind of helped for us. And yeah, I think that was helpful as well. Then, of course, as Nina was managing director, I felt there was a need of aligning company objectives with Nina's personal objectives. Again, if it's her Christmas speech, then the things the organization uh, would have been doing during the year should somehow align, and that's what we've been aligning. And at the same time, as Nina just said, when we would look on the organization, in order to see, okay, there's lots of things going on. There is this operational pressure. And at the same time, when we zoom out, is that still the thing that we are working on? And is that still what you want to work on? Or do we have to change that just in order to just always remember ourselves? Are we here on the right track, let's say? And then what I felt was becoming, or yeah, getting better and better was basically focusing on leadership and steering roles. As Nina said, like sometimes, or especially in the beginning, it was everyone asking Nina for things like, "What's the process now? What are we going to do next? What's that?" And then basically trying to separate the roles that were needed from Nina as a position, let's say, of the managing director, but coming up with process owners and people who took care of the moderation of the events and different parts of that. So that's been a thing. And with that, I felt we could enable the right and important conversations and decisions around the OKRs. Um, and that, of course, is always like kind of the most important part, I would say, in change, to enable the right conversations and then use the outcome in a smart way. And at the same time, of course, identify bottlenecks and find solutions for them when you can find them. And then I would go back on what Nina said, focus on the things that can be done. And yeah, just put the rest to the backlog for now. Yes, and that's the very last slide. I'm seeing that the time is running. So not surprising, here is the things that we thought were important or that helped us guiding and that we would like to share with you in the end is or are that we believe it was quite helpful for that process to have that linking of coaching and org design together. So the organization was able to actually do stuff, and at the same time, Nina in the leadership role wasn't maybe alone. And yeah, we could do things together and she could do things by herself with the team actually. Then stick to the plan of adjusting the plan at any time. We've changed that quite a few times, I think. But yeah, the thing that we basically probably don't want you to go out with is, oh, they had a roadmap and then they just implemented it. Like, no, we didn't. We had a few first steps and then we came up and designed that roadmap along the way. And yeah, we had like commitment and alignment on that's how we want to do it. Then involve the relevant roles all the time. Think like look at what you need, and then involve those things. Yeah, we mentioned the shared management and steering responsibilities throughout the whole process. Share as much as you can, distribute decision making and responsibility. And then, of course, don't give up. Instead, focus on what works. Like whenever you think this is not going to work, don't give up. There's always a way. Yeah. And try to provide as much orientation and transparency through whatever you have available. Um, and that's, I think, it. And we could now go into Q&A. Um, I still want to show the cat for one moment and then I can stop sharing the screen.